When I saw the forecast for another 30-degree day, I thought, what better thing to do with my time than get outside, go to the park, and make a video on pennies. Let's have a look. Unlike the threepence, sixpence, shilling and florin, pennies and halfpennies weren't actually introduced until 1911. Upon their introduction, the monarch that was gracing the obverse of the pennies and halfpennies was George V. This portrait was designed by Sir E. B. McKennell and appeared on the coins from 1911 right through to 1936. Following this, from 1938 until 1948, the design was of George VI. This design was done by Thomas Paget. The final obverse design for the pennies was Elizabeth II, and this design was done by Mary Gillick. It's interesting to note that on both the George VI design and the Elizabeth designs, she's not actually wearing a crown, nor is George VI. I actually prefer the George V design, and I like the way that they incorporate the design of the crown into the legend. It's interesting to note that no pennies were struck in 1937, and I think this was probably partially due to the debacle of Edward VIII. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about Edward VIII, you can check out my video on that where I highlight the £1 banknote that doesn't actually have a design on it. So the key dates for the penny series to look out for are 1925, 1930 and 1946. The reason these are considered the key dates is due to the mintage. So there are comparatively far fewer coins struck in these years than any of the other years for the pennies. The 1925 is known by a mintage of 117,000. Following this, the 1930 penny, which is the king of Australian coins, I'll also put a link to my video highlighting that particular coin in the description. So for 1930, the mintage estimates are between 1,500 and 3,000. Finally, we have the 1946 penny with a mintage of 336,000. The 1930 penny is obviously, for most people, the iconic and the most famous penny, and it's also something that I take great pride in my ability to source. I've had a number of clients over the years that have requested one, and I'm proud to say that I've been able to source them in all examples. So if that's the type of thing that you're looking to really go to the top end of your collecting journey, feel free to get in touch and I'd love to help you out with that. So for the halfpenny, there's just one key date. It's the 1923, and it's known by a mintage of approximately 15,000, which is significantly lower than a number of the other years. So when you hear coin dealers talking about key dates, it obviously refers to coins that are comparatively difficult to get. And that's to say, in these examples, they're often coins that are known by far lower mintages. So just by way of fewer being produced, they are considerably more difficult to get your hands on. That's not to say that they are the only valuable coins in the penny and the halfpenny series. If you get any coin in a really, really great condition, they will also carry a significant premium. Some key dates are actually as a result of destruction, partially. So one coin that I can't seem to make a video without referencing is the Melbourne Centenary florin, of which the original 75,000 mintage, 21,000 were melted down. So it was already a very low mintage coin, but having a number of them melted down and repurposed also attributed to its collectability. So you can see that from time to time on coins as well. In 1939, when this transition took place, the halfpenny was actually fortunate enough to be produced in both the classic design and the kangaroo design. Another interesting tidbit for both the penny and the halfpenny is in 1951, if you take a close look at your coins, you may notice the mint mark PL, and this stands for, excuse my pronunciation, Pecunia Londini, which means money of London, or Percussa Londinio, which means struck at London. They're not particularly rare, although the proof coins command a significant premium, but it's just something interesting to look out for if you get a 1951 dated coin. So pennies are a very popular coin to collect, and sometimes I think we forget that they were actually used in day-to-day transactions. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to highlight the values which were attributed to them back in the day.
In order to achieve the value of 1 shilling, it required 12 pennies. Moving along to the next size up, the famous florin, it took 2 shillings, which is the equivalent of 24 pennies. Then, for the largest ever circulating coin, the very famous crown, that was the equivalent of 5 shillings, or 60 pennies. Then, for the larger gold sovereign, that was the equivalent of £1, which, if you can believe it, was 20 shillings or 240 pennies. So you can see how you might get some interesting looks from a shopkeeper if you said, I'd like to convert my sovereign into pennies.
Some of the advantages that I think are worth noting for the penny and the halfpenny series, one is that it's a finite collection. So from 1911 to 1964, that's it. There's not going to be any added to it. There won't be any variations that are introduced to the market, as far as I'm aware. So it makes for a very manageable and finite collecting journey. And then along the way, with a couple of those key dates that I mentioned earlier, if it's something that you're looking to take a little more seriously, you can build it up from there. Otherwise, you can just collect them all in average quality and it won't be a wildly costly exercise, and it can also give you a tangible piece of Australian history. I also thought I'd just add on, the most expensive penny ever sold was for $1.15 million, and it was a proof 1930 penny, of which there are only 6 in existence. So incredibly rare to begin with. Add in the fact that it's a proof, only known by 6 examples, and you've got an incredible rarity on your hands. All right, that's it for a basic high-level overview of the penny and halfpennies. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe learnt something too. So next time you hear a friend saying, you know, I've got this big bag of pennies, what do I do? You know some of the key dates to look out for. I hope you enjoy this series. I look forward to making some more interesting videos, giving you an overview of a few different denominations and things like that. And we'll see you in the next one.